Commanders' defense was a force to be reckoned with this season, and a big reason, the D-line. Anchored by now two-time Pro Bowl selection Jon Allen. We'll talk to Jon in the Players Club. And you can't talk about that D-line without talking about big Daron Payne. Payne definitely made the most of his contract year. He stops by to talk with Fletcher and Santana Moss. And second-year linebacker Jamin Davis really started to come into his own this season. We'll talk to the team's former first-round pick about how this season was different from his rookie campaign. Well, hello and welcome into Command Center. I'm Julie Donaldson out here at the practice facility in Ashburn. And it is quiet because the players have cleaned out their lockers and headed out for a well-earned off-season. A couple of guys who came by were a couple who loomed large on that Commanders defensive line this season, Jon Allen and Daron Payne. Allen played in 16 of the team's 17 games, missing the final game against Dallas to get some rest after tweaking his leg in the loss to Cleveland. The next time we will see Jon is at his second Pro Bowl. He earned his first selection last season and is getting another nod this year. Meanwhile, Daron Payne really got after it in what is a contract year. He could also find himself out in Las Vegas for the Pro Bowl as he is the first alternate at the position. So here's a look at the numbers these two put up this year. Both were leaders for the team in tackles for loss and top 3 in sacks, making our defense a force to be reckoned with. Payne at 18 tackles for loss and 11.5 sacks. Allen with 16 tackles for loss and made 7.5 sacks throughout the season. They both stopped by the Players Club before leaving the facility last week. Check it out.
Well, Jonathan, our season is over. What was the feeling like, man, playing the way you played this year, having to sit that last one out and just seeing your boys go out there and I guess you can say seeing you guys home the right way?
It was kind of tough, only because you know how important Dallas week is. Even when for us there wasn't nothing to play for as far as going to the playoffs, being able to go out there and watch some boys put that dominant of a performance on was something that, man, I wish I could have been a part of. You know what I mean? But it was really hard. But, man, it was really cool seeing some of those young guys go out there and compete. I know a lot of fans will say we didn't have a lot to compete for, but guys are playing for their jobs.
They did.
A lot of young guys, this is their one opportunity. You know what I mean? And we all know a bunch of guys who've never had an opportunity, so it was cool seeing them go on a third perform.
Defensively, as a defensive line this year, you guys played well, played outstanding. Even with Chase being out, you had guys like Casey Toohill, F.A. Abada, James Smith-Williams step up. Do you take pride knowing how well you guys played? Obviously, Daron having a breakout season and you doing, playing at all-pro level. When you think about your group, how do you think about the way you all played and what led to it?
I think about the previous 3 years when everyone kept talking about the potential of this group. And the one thing I would always say is potential is just something you say when you haven't done anything. And I'm glad we can move past that. This group has potential. So this group is one of the best in the league. So for us, it was just good to really put it all together. You can only go off potential for so long.
Yeah. But one of the things too, man, and we feel what you guys feel because we want to see you guys in the postseason. We know how hard it was. Me and London talked about the tale of 3 seasons almost. Yeah. But you actually get a chance to, I remember being in those shoes. When you leave, you're bitter because you didn't have a good season or you wish you would have went far, but you actually have something you can hold your hat on. You can be like, man, I can hang my hat on just knowing that if we bring the majority of these guys back, we have a chance to now know what we can do as a team. You know what I mean? As a veteran, is that something that's said in those meetings, those exit meetings, or is that something that the coaching staff just already you probably, spoke on before they even got a chance to see you guys out the door?
I think it's important for exit meetings for players to be honest. And I feel like that's tough for younger guys or guys who aren't in really secure positions. But, Coach Rivera says it all the time. If we don't tell him, he's not going to know the things that we're saying that we think needs to change. And so I know for me and some of the older guys on the team and the guys who've been around the league for a while, we try to just be as honest as possible about what we see. And as far as moving forward, man, I think there's a lot of hope. With the way Sam Howell played, who knows what the offseason is going to be like. We don't know what the quarterback room is going to be like. We don't know a lot of things. But you look at that performance and you're like, who knows?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Who knows?
Maybe. You never know. So I think there's a lot of hope. And I think we just got to – for us, we got to stop beating ourselves. There's too many games we beat ourselves. We had 9 losses this year. I can genuinely say about 4 or 5 of them were we shot our own selves.
Mm-hmm.
We shot our own selves in the foot. Titans game, Vikings game,
Yeah.
the Browns game. Just as a team, what are we doing?
Giants game.
Giants game,
Both
both
of 'em.
games.
Both of 'em. Yeah.
That's 5 right there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You mentioned the offseason. Every year, Tanner and I, we both play as former players or players. You always think about, hey, what do I want to work on this offseason? Have you had a chance to kind of think about what you want to get better and improve on this offseason?
I think the thing that's harder is every year that I get older, I can't train as hard as I used to. So for me, it's about finding new ways to train while still keeping my body fresh. You know what I mean? My first 2 years, I would start training the first day after the Super Bowl ended. So it was February 4th at the time, I think. That's when I would start training every single day. I physically can't do that now.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's just about finding new ways to train as hard as I like to without beating down my body as much. And for me, I'm just always about being consistent. So every offseason I want to go into it, I want to be more consistent in how I eat, how I sleep, how I train. That way, if I have a good offseason, I can have a better football season.
Yeah, there's many ways, man. We all find ways. And I remember being that guy straight after that Super Bowl was played. That next day, I'm in the weight room.
Too?
Yeah.
And it got to a point that when I got older, I stopped doing that way. I had to push back some weeks. So I get that point of saying, man, you have to just know that, hey, I have to give or take a little bit when it comes to just putting myself through so much of that, rigorous workout and the things that we want to do, as an athlete, as a ball player, period. You want to be able to get up and go out there and go with those young guys just as much as they going, but you got to be smart. You know what I mean? And that's the main thing. So long as you're getting it in, that's key. But being smart is everything because you know better than anybody else when it's time for that body to go through that stuff.
Yep. I agree.
Hey, man, congratulations again on your second Pro Bowl. This year, Pro Bowl is going to be a flag football game. Everybody always want to play a different position. What position on offense would you play? Are you going to attempt to play maybe?
I grew up playing running back and middle linebacker. Those are my 2 positions. Never liked being a receiver. Never wanted to be a quarterback. Always running back and middle linebacker.
What was your style as a running back?
Oh, I was physical. Favorite running back was Earl Campbell. That was my guy.
Earl Campbell, you just running people over.
Yeah, that was my guy.
Oh, man. We appreciate you joining us, man.
Of course. I appreciate you guys.
Have a good one. Well, Payne, I remember, us getting a chance to chat with you before the season started. And, although that the season didn't end, like we would all wanted it to, as far as the team going to the postseason, we knew this was going to be a special season for you. We saw it in you, in training camp, and fortunately, and we're happy that it was able to really be on display nationally for everyone to give you that recognition. How does it feel to say, okay, I know what taste you have when it comes to collectively as a team not getting to see the postseason, but just knowing that you put your best foot forward and went out there and played some of your best football. What is that feeling like?
Man, it's like I've been at it for a long time, man, and it just be like the off-season grind. You know how it be when you just working hard and it just feel like you ain't making no progress, and then just to see it all just come to fruition, it meant a lot to me, and it definitely gives me some motivation to go in this off-season and work a little bit harder.
Hey, you picked a hell of a time to have a career year, man. A free agent year.
That ain't nothing but God, man.
Yeah, straight up.
You had 11 and a half sacks, tied for the franchise record with Dave Butts, who's a legendary former player here. You were trying to get that sack yesterday against the Dallas Cowboys, hunting Dak Prescott. What was your mindset going into that game against the Cowboys?
I mean, I could have laid down and just tried to protect myself, but I don't know. I woke up that morning, it was like, man, I feel like 100 days. So I was just out there trying to get them, man. They offensive line did a good job protecting them though, and Dak, he got a good sense of like awareness in the pocket, so he stayed away from me, man.
You might be playing in the Pro Bowl, man. In that,
I hope so.
Yeah, I know Aaron Donald got hurt.
Yeah.
So, were you the first alternate?
Yeah, first alternate.
Oh yeah, you get ready. Get ready. Get yourself ready for Vegas.
Enjoy yourself.
As we think about this defensive line group, man, compared to last year when it didn't seem like y'all were all on the same page, especially early in the year, and this year, the way you guys dominated, and I'm talking about, and there were games where
Yeah.
I don't care what offensive line was blocking you. Heck, I don't even know if the Hogs could have blocked y'all. That brotherhood and that camaraderie, man, you got to think about that too when you know. And what was that brotherhood like?
Man, all them boys, like, it's really a brotherhood for real. I know Sweat, Chase, J.A., all like our room, like we so close. And I think this year we took advantage of each other. Like we used each other. Like we worked together. We went into games with like game plans, and we just went at it hard. So I appreciate them boys for helping me get to where I'm at. And I love the ball with them one more time.
Seeing how much success you had this year and knowing what it took to get there from your offseason that you had this past season, now it's like you have that formula. You know what I mean? I loved when I had the success in the league, when I finally arrived and had that breakout season. I felt like, okay, this is the formula. This is what I'm going to tap back into. Do you have that same sense of like, man, I know what I did. I'm gonna do the same thing, but I'm gonna add to whatever it may be that I didn't do well this past season. But at least I have my formula.
No, for sure. I know I just put a big emphasis on like recovery, and I just went hard on, like, I trained hard and I recovered real hard too. So
Got you.
I feel like that played a part of like me staying fresh and being able to be on the field at all times. So I think I'm gonna just stick with what I'm doing, do a little bit more like position work, and just get after it.
No doubt.
After a long season, obviously playing a lot of snaps as the D-line, defensive tackle position got kind of ravaged by injuries. You planning on taking a little time to relax for a week or two, couple weeks?
I feel like I relax on the weekends. I still do, like, I ain't got nothing to do, man. I go to the gym, give me a lift in, and then chill out, relax.
Play them video games, right?
Man, sometimes I do be on it sometimes.
You bought them cars though too, so
Yeah, I love them cars.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you, man. We know it's that time to get up out of here, man, and we don't want to take too much of that time from you, man. So thanks for joining the
appreciate
Club
y'all.
one more time, buddy.
Yeah.
Time for your mission debrief presented by the Washington Times. The Washington defense put up some pretty impressive numbers this season. They finished ranking number 1 in goal-to-go defense, allowing a touchdown on about 52% of possessions, and were 5-0 this season when holding opponents under 20 points. Now, another member of that defensive unit is second-year linebacker Jamin Davis. He led the team in tackles this season. London and Santana chop it up with Jamin in the Players Club when we come back.
Two wide receivers inside the numbers to the left. Snap to Goff, steps back to the 15. Now runs out of time. He is sacked by Jamin Davis back at the 10-yard line. And the linebacker heard the noise and made a huge play.
Yeah, defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio said he wanted more from Jamin Davis. Davis said he knew what he needed to do right. That looked right, London.
Oh, that looked right. And that was actually Jamin Davis's first play in the ballgame. Criticize that, you haters.
Welcome back. What a difference a year makes, especially for second-year player Jamin Davis. After learning the ropes of the NFL his rookie season, he came out with a renewed purpose and led the team with tackles with 104. And before he headed out this offseason, well, he stopped by the Players Club to talk with one of the best to ever put on the burgundy and gold, linebacker London Fletcher and wideout Santana Moss. Check it out.
Jamin, you're 2 in the books, man. End up leading the team in tackles this year. How did it feel to kind of go through the season that you had, and after obviously the rookie year you had and playing as well as you did this year?
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like this was definitely a big year of growth for me, just figuring out who I am as a player and just giving me something to build off going forward.
One of the things that stood out, man, is that you can see your growth. Sometimes it's not something that's just glaring or you can just, put your finger on, but we actually saw you fly around to the ball. Was that from the position change, or that was just from the being familiar now with stuff and having that extra help that you said you was getting from Cole throughout the season?
I think that was more so being familiar with the position a lot more, seeing things that I've seen before last year and just going out there and just trying to put a little bit more of a stain on different plays that was out there for me to make in year one. Mm-hmm. And I think just going forward, that's just something I'm going to have to continue to build off of so that I can just make more of a mark on this team.
When Cole went down, you eventually started wearing the green dot, man. That was a little different for you. I'm not sure In college, y'all signal everything. I don't even know if y'all have, the headset. What was that like for you, having to call a defense and listen to it for the communication?
I think it was one of those things for me that was like you got to step up and show out. I mean, Cole went down, and it was just an eye-opening experience for me because it was like, okay, next man up. That was always the mentality that I had in my head anyway. So just when I got the opportunity, it was like, okay, now you got to be more of a vocal leader kind of guy and just step up to the plate and just put your best foot forward.
One of the things that come with being a veteran or starting to stack those years up on your resume is the confidence. And, the off seasons are much different now. You can go into your off season just knowing that I'm finna really step things up and I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna attack certain different things that I know that I need to work on. Is that something that's going through your head now? I know the confidence is there. We saw it in your game. But are you already mentally preparing for this offseason, just knowing that, man, if I do X, Y, and Z, I'm definitely going to bring it on a different level, this next time around. Right. Is that something that you already been thinking about, or Absolutely. Is that you'll probably let it happen whenever it happens?
Absolutely. I mean, in my head right now, it's like it's time to put your best foot forward to show everybody that you're an all-pro linebacker. Yeah. So now you got to change little things up as far as like alignments and stuff like that to figure out little things that could take your game to the next level again next year. Mm-hmm. So it's like, where do you go from here? It's like, you don't want to be average at the end of the day. So I'm one of those guys that's always going to do it as best as possible and just bring everything I got.
When you look at this season overall, and obviously, we felt like it was 3 different seasons, the 1-4 start, then running off to 7-5, and then obviously the way the season ended. What will you remember most about this year?
That we didn't quit. At the end of the day, no matter what. Even if it started slow, we picked it back up, and it didn't end the way we wanted it to. But, I mean, look at the testament of yesterday. Look how it went down with Dallas. I mean, if you ask me, we had our backs against the wall. We never folded. So, going forward, that's something to build off of. And I just know the guys around me got my back. And like Coach Rivera always say, all we got is all we need. So.
Mm-hmm. How was it looking at some of them young guys yesterday, man? I got to
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that, man.
God, it was crazy. It was just sitting there watching everybody flying around and just exactly how they was going to play because of how they approached it throughout the week in practice. And it was just amazing to just see everybody doing their job and just it wasn't really a surprise because it was one of those things that we always prepare the same exact way and just went out there and showed everybody that it ain't going to be a cakewalk over us or anything like that. So they went out there and played their game, and the result spoke for themselves.
That was good.
One of the first things when I saw Tanner today, he was like, man, 47, Khalid Hudson, man. You Absolutely. See him running around. He making a ton of plays. Did some things running down the middle of the field and cover 2. It's like, Tanner said, man, why haven't he been playing? Is that something you've seen in Khalid in practice all season long?
For sure. Leak is a dog, man. He definitely earned his respect in my eyes when I first met him, to be honest. Like, I've been knew Leak was a dog. So just seeing him go out there and take advantage of his opportunity is something that's really humbling. It's knowing that I'm the same kind of guy as well. So just being around a guy like Leak, I think going forward, he always going to make his mark as well.
Do you guys because I know I was always one of those guys. I went home. I went to Miami. And, I felt like we had some of the best upbringing when it came to, strength and conditioning right there on campus with our scrim coach, Andrew Swayze. I'm not sure how you guys do it nowadays, but do you go back to where you're from, or do you stay around the area and say, get some of the guys from the team and work out, or how do you do things?
I feel like that's probably one of the safest routes to take is probably sticking around the area because you're around the strength staff. They get to see you. They can keep their hands on you and do as much as possible to keep developing you as a player. So, going forward, like, okay, we seen this guy around the facility. We know that he was putting in that work in the offseason, and then going forward, you got other guys that's going to slowly start to trickle back in as well so that they can get on board, and then that chemistry just keeps growing.
Yeah.
Man, this is if you have this type of jump next year, I love the fact that you said all-pro linebacker.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
Not Pro Bowl, all-pro linebacker. And as I watch you on the field, the talent is there. Mm-hmm. The confidence is growing, each and every week. We saw it progress throughout the season. It's just a little thing. Like you said, the alignment and learning the little intricacies of playing that position, man. I can't wait to see year 3 from you.
I can't wait either. It's going to be a movie for sure.
Already.
All right.
Yes, sir, man.
Here's a look at the numbers Jamin put up this season. He made an impact on the defense, not only leading the team in combined tackles, but tacking on 68 of them solo as he contributed throughout the 2022 season. Now keep it here, because when we come back, we are looking back at the first ever touchdown scored as the Commanders back in Week 1 when Curtis Samuel took it in against the Jags. It's coming your way right after this. Time now for your Field Pass presented by FedEx, where now meets next.
Wentz in the gun. Gibson to his right. 2 wide receivers to the left. He asks Samuel to come in motion again. Play action Gibson. A quick toss towards Samuel. Dives into the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown Washington. The first touchdown in Washington Commanders history is a 3-yard pass from Carson Wentz to Curtis Samuel.
And what a moment that was. History made as Curtis Samuel hauls in the first ever touchdown for the Commanders. Now he will join London and Santana to talk about that in the Players Club on Wednesday's show. We'll also hear from Cam Curl as he's carved out a nice place in our defensive backfield, and a couple of special teamers who are heading to the Pro Bowl, Hunter Tressway and Jeremy Reeves. It's all coming your way Wednesday on Command Center. A lot more great conversations with our current guys, with our legends to come. Make sure you check out Wednesday's show. That's going to do it for this episode of Command Center. We'll see you next time.